welcome back to another video. It's me, Krashy, again, talking about some Gears of War. And today, I started off the day pretty average. I don't really play Gears that much, to be completely honest. Like, I really only play whenever my buddy's over and we go to the gym and stuff. So we'll play a few games of Gears, and we end up getting pissed off or whatever when we get off. And so outside of that little rotation, I really don't play that much because, like I've said in the past, I genuinely just don't really enjoy the game that much. There's really nothing to play for. It's not that fun. There's a lot of issues with the game, and just the reason I even play at all is because I'm such a huge fan and I love the current gameplay, but everything else around it is pretty terrible, pretty mediocre. I don't even know, mediocre is kind of a compliment for a lot of the in-game systems and a lot of the designs that surround this particular game. But today I decided, it's about noon, and I wanted to play a game of Escalation, and I was going to record a video discussing kind of a Twitter topic that I brought up, or that I discussed with Node Zero very briefly, about why I am not a fan of the person with the most points being the person who picks. So what I was going to do is I was just going to record an Escalation game. I was going to talk over how I think the hills actually give too many points, and how I think that that's not a good representation for who should be deciding the weapons, and how it's actually not good because everybody instead of playing for map control, instead of trying to go and get position, everybody wants to stand and stop on the home hill, and it actually makes Escalation a little funky online because everybody's trying to get so many points. But anyways, the reason I'm not making that video, because I pretty much just summed up that entire video, is because I had a different experience, and you're actually watching that experience right now. And I kind of just want to say, like, you're going to see the title, it's ridiculous, I know, I don't really care. I'm kind of just frustrated. Like, at this point, I don't even remember how many months in from release we are, but we're months from release, and we've seen almost zero substantial changes. And I'm not even worried about substantial changes. I'm kind of worried about the design as a whole. Like, I think that the problem is not that changes haven't been made. I mean, that is a problem, but the problem is that a lot of these things made it into the game or didn't make it into the game off the start. And so at this point, I gotta say, I'm painfully unoptimistic that this game will ever change and be what we want it to be. I don't ever see a good future for Gears of War 4 outside of esports. Now, granted, the esports scene is doing well. They have good infrastructure, they have MLG, they have, solid staff, they have jack filling, they have, the casters, they have a great set of teams and organizations, and it's thriving. Granted, viewership has been okay, and that's something that I think will grow in time, but not if there's no one playing the game. And so, while everything I complain about doesn't really affect the esports side of things, it also does innately. It also very much so does, because if no one wants to play online Escalation, if no one wants to play online Gears of War, also no one will want to watch it. So it's also just very full circle. I mean, you have to have a fun online experience. You have to have a game that people want to hop on and play, a game that people want to make content for there to be content creators, and for there to be fans and streamers and, pro teams with huge followings and everything like that. So, basically, I just want to very sincerely explain just the fact that this game is on a very, very slippery slope, and it's only going downward. I have seen no change, and in fact I've seen a very stubborn Node Zero. I feel like we present him with issues, or we present him with ideas, and I tend to see his Twitter presence be a little bit standoffish. I feel like he's defensive on what they've built instead of embracing what we say, even though the deliverance isn't always the best. But that's not our job. It's not my job to be a QA person online. I don't get paid for my opinions. I put them out there because I genuinely want change. But anyways, and instead of taking those opinions, I feel like he just kind of shrugs it off, or turns his cold shoulder and is not happy with the things that we say, and I'm quite frankly really upset with his response. In fact, I don't feel like I get any. I mean, and I'm one person. Granted, I know I wish I had a little bit more weight in my position, because maybe if I was a professional player or a professional coach or something, my videos would be seen a little bit more, my opinion would be a little bit more heard, but I don't think that makes it any less valid because a lot of people agree with me. This game is in a very, very frustrating state. You can almost, you're so divided between playing core and being a casual player or playing competitive and realizing that what you're doing anyways is a giant waste of time because you're not gaining rank, you're just gaining a little picture. You don't know where you are on the leaderboards. You more often than not can't even finish a full game 5v5. You have people that quit. You have no penalty for doing so, so you're actually enforcing that and promoting people to quit. It's just a terrible, terrible experience, and overall I just I find it to be comedic that we get almost nothing out of the developers who are much more invested in this than we are. I'm invested because I feel connected to this game because of 10 years of history playing this game. I'm invested because I've been to events and because this is something I want to do. I want to create content for this game. I want to help be a part of its growth and find growth for myself in it. I'm invested, but I'm not invested in my job. My career is not to create a better Gears of War. It's their job. And I'm not invested time-wise in terms of, labor. Like I said, I guess job-wise, it's just, that's what I mean. I'm just not invested in that way. This is like their child. This should mean everything. And yet I feel like we don't get any blog posts. We don't get any streams. We don't get any updates. We don't hear what they're doing. I don't know I could honestly not tell you what they are doing other than having their design team work on more crates, more skins, and more monetization. Now, understand this. I do know that studios operate in different teams, so I am not saying that the Coalition is putting all their efforts on making more money, making more designs. I do know that they have teams that are constantly doing that, and those teams are being phenomenal assets to their company because they're actually putting out content that people enjoy. Although I'm not super excited about the way that all the monetization is handled and all the crates and all the skins and stuff are handled, they're still doing much better than the multiplayer development on this game. And that, like I said, that's the addiction. That's the thing that needs to drive the reason to do anything else. And unfortunately, the experience is not, I don't even know if I can call it mediocre. I think I fall on the term mediocrity because it's an easy thing to explain disdain. It's an easy term for that. Like, if I'm calling your product mediocre, you should feel a negative connotation, assigned to that. And that's what I'm attempting to do, but I'm not even sure it matters, I don't know if they care because they don't say anything. And all in all, do I want change? Am I just here to flame them? Yes and no. I do want change. I'm not just here to flame them. I'm hoping to light a fire and enact change not only in the game, but with the way the development team handles what they're doing and how they're doing it. I've said in the past, there are many other development teams that do streams that are literally the state of the game stream, and they will tell you about the game. They will explain their issues with the game. They will talk about community issues with the game, and they will then go into detail about how they plan to fix it, what kind of timetables they're on, ideas that are on the table, and all different kinds of insight into what their day-to-day jobs are in terms of fixing this game. Now, here's the thing. I know it's holidays, and I know these people are real people. They're not just robots sitting in an office. So I don't always expect something to happen overnight. But we are so far in, and we have seen almost none of the, the core major issues, like just having a lever penalty. We haven't seen anything like that fixed. And like I said, my issue with a lot of it is the fact that it made it through the game. It made it to the live version of the game in the first place, like the current ranking system. It just makes no sense. So you're watching a game. I've got a couple people that aren't playing. I even message a guy and ask him if he's on a 5-man team, which that's another problem in itself that really doesn't get talked about because it's not one of the core issues yet. I mean, it will end up being a core issue once things start getting fixed. But I'm a solo player playing against a 5-man team that's super coordinated. If this ranking system actually had weight, which it doesn't, and it needs to be reworked, I would be pissed because I'd be completely at a loss here. It's like playing, a GB and you queued up solo and you're versus, the optic team or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes no sense. Like, so that's an issue in itself. You know, I have people that aren't playing. I can't enjoy the game. It's just the quickest 7-0, and I'm supposed to just sit back and enjoy the fact that I'm diamond. Like, it's just a pathetic experience. And like I said, the term mediocre doesn't even do it justice on just how bad this game truly can be. And this is all aside from the fact that maybe I'm frustrated with Escalation. Maybe I don't feel like playing it. Oh, well, guess what? If I try to go and play TDM, I have to play on core settings. So there really is no escape from the unfortunate experience of multiplayer on Gears of War 4. You know, I feel like at this point, if you have professional players that are more willing to go and play game battles on some points, if they're not scrimming, they're more willing to go play game battles on Call of Duty than they are to just get on a party and play ranked on the game that they are professional in, then maybe the development team should probably ask some questions. So, you know, we waited 10 years for this, and and this is what we get. So I've said it in the past, I don't think I'm anyone special, but I would love to share ideas that I have. I would love to talk with people from the development team. I would literally love to get anyone other than myself talking about a lot of these issues more than just a single tweet, because I feel like at this point I'm doing it almost every day because this game is not improving, and I fear for what happens if it doesn't. So thank you guys for listening. I'd appreciate a thumbs up, a thumbs down. I don't even care anymore. I just want people to see this video and understand my point of view, and I'm not trying to just be this angry person, this ragey person, because that tends to come off that way whenever I talk like this about certain games or about certain topics. But it is what it is, and I think we all hope that something will change. I don't know what that's going to be, and that's got to come from the devs, and I don't just mean in-game. I mean their communication and the way that they conduct themselves. So hopefully we see something, and I guess I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace out.